Greed. Greed is the only word I can use to describe the situation. I wanted to talk about this a while ago, to be honest. I mean, I just haven't found the time to talk about it. But if you've been living under, unless you've been living under a rock, you would have seen that Liverpool is actively trying to get Alexander Isak, even after they already got Ekitike. You know who I got to blame for this? Manchester City and Real Madrid. Those are the two greediest teams in football that I know. And I know you Man City and Real Madrid fans know that too, because the business we've seen from those two clubs, especially Madrid, getting these high talent players for free. I mean, the fact that they got Trent Alexander-Arnold for free probably triggered something inside Liverpool themselves. In this video, I basically want to talk about if Liverpool should go for Isak, if he's the right fit, what other clubs he could go to. Does this transfer overall work? First of all, we got to start with the start of the summer, because I think at the start of the summer, literally every person that's invested in the Premier League would have agreed that Isak was going to stay at Newcastle. But then about a month ago, Isak pretty much had enough. I don't know if he's been trying to negotiate contracts with Newcastle to up his wages, but he had enough. He had enough. He said, I'm leaving the club this summer. The problem with Isak saying he wants to leave this summer is that there's actually not that many teams that can afford to get him. We already know that the price tag that Newcastle put on Isak is ridiculously high. So, I mean, not a lot of teams would be in the market. Only the top teams would be in this market. One of the teams is already out of it because Arsenal already committed to Gyökeres, so there is no need to spend 150, 120 mil on Isak. And teams like PSG already have a complete attack. Teams like Barcelona just simply can't afford him. And that left one team, which is Liverpool, and that actually works out for him because it seems like that's the club he wants to go to the most. But the one thing that stands in his way is Newcastle not wanting to sell to another club in the Premier League. On top of this, they were not letting him go unless they got a replacement. So what Liverpool did was they held Newcastle at gunpoint. They said, you either give us Ekitike or we take Isak. I mean, you pick your poison, basically. Invest in the future or keep your star striker right now. And what Liverpool did was they took their future striker, Ekitike. Even after all that, Isak still wants to leave. And now there's this whole saga, and it looks like Isak's pretty much isolated out the Newcastle team. Looking at the way Liverpool's moved this window, it's already been a 10 out of 10 window. And adding Isak on top of that, why not? But I think there are more important areas for Liverpool to address than an Alexander Isak. Spending 120 mil, committing 120 mil on Isak when you already spent what, 70 to 90, I don't know how much Ekitike cost, but it was around that range. You already spent that much on a young striker, so why would you spend another 120 mil on Isak? I think Liverpool needs center backs, multiple center backs, yes, because Van Dijk and Konate, they're outstanding center backs, some of the best in the league, but you cannot depend on them to be fully fit for a full season. Basically, that takes a lot of luck, and it's not going to repeat. I don't think it will repeat, especially with Konate's injury history and other factors. Joe Gomez as the backup on top of that, not a very healthy player as well, so multiple center backs are needed in this team. The good thing with that is it looks like Liverpool are actually going for Guehi, and I think the other player is Leone. He's a really young Italian center back, so I mean, bringing in two center backs, perfect. On top of that, however, I think Liverpool need a center defensive midfielder to rotate with Gravenberch. Endo, he can do a job, but it seems like more of his role is to close out games rather than rotate with Gravenberch consistently. You need a similar profile to Gravenberch, someone who can move the ball, get out of tight spaces, progress it, just do multiple things for the team offensively and defensively. Once that business is handled for Liverpool, I think then you look at your bank account, and if you still have 120 mil, drop it on Isak, because that is one way to build a dynasty in the Premier League. One person who would be looking at, Liverpool and Arne Slot a little funny would probably be Ekitike, though, because this is a guy, he's not 18 years old or nothing. He's 23, entering, those peak years where he wants to start hitting consistently high numbers. And bringing in Isak is basically saying, you were never the main guy for us. I feel like that would, lower his morale, lower his mood. I don't know how consistently he would get minutes over Isak, or if he'd get pushed out to the left more. But then, they got to rotate with Gakpo as well. Multiple players who want to play in these wing positions. But competition is healthy. And I mean, who wouldn't want that competition? As of right now, though, I feel like Isak is going to stay at Newcastle. It says he refuses to ever play for Newcastle again, but I think that's I don't believe in that. I feel like he can't spend a year where he's 25 years old not playing football, and I just don't see Liverpool dropping 120 mil, especially if they pick up a midfielder on top of these two center backs. If anything, I think the perfect two destinations for Isak would be Barcelona and Real Madrid, preferably Barcelona number one and Real Madrid number two. You see who Barcelona have up top. It's a 40-year-old Lewandowski, still a bunch of production, but I think it's time to start phasing him out. Isak with that dynamic front three, I'm saying 50 goals. 50 goals in season one. Genuinely. I think Real Madrid should be another option, but it feels like that wouldn't really be plausible because I don't remember the last time Madrid has spent 120 mil on a player. I don't know if they've ever spent 120 mil on a player. They've shown that they can spend, but they would rather, use their pull to bring players in for free, or at least as of recently, they like doing that. So yeah, it's a very sticky situation for Isak in particular. It feels like what he wanted the whole time was to leave Newcastle, but he was trying to keep it under wraps just to see if he could get paid by Newcastle and then give them more money in the next summer or something. But they never agreed on contract negotiations, and this whole thing is blown up in Newcastle's face, and I think it's gonna be a detriment to their season. If you check out my latest video, I actually predicted them to be in 7th place. That's a pretty big drop off from what they finished 5th. It's Conference League football, so, and I think Isak will be a big part of that because as of right now, Newcastle do not have a striker, or they don't have anyone lined up to replace him. It looks like they're starting to look at Johan Wissa and who was the other player? Samu, the Spanish striker. They're also looking at him, who I think is an interesting profile. Definitely suits the Prem. It would be, I'd like to see him at Newcastle. So there is still a slim chance he goes to Liverpool, but in my opinion, that's greedy. Let me know what y'all think of this whole Alexander Isak situation. Do y'all think that he should leave? Do y'all think he should stay an extra season? Do you think it would work for Newcastle if he stayed? Do we think he should go to Liverpool specifically, or should he go somewhere else? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It is much appreciated. Let's spread this football knowledge to most of the football community in YouTube, because I got the best knowledge. So come on. So yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.